Melbourne loves to brag about being progressive, artsy, inclusive, a city where everyone can be who they are. But every so often, the past taps us on the shoulder and reminds us that it wasn't always this way. Today I want to take you back to August 7th, 1994, to a nightclub called Tasty, a place where queer Melbourne went to dance, flirt, escape and breathe. And to a night that became one of the darkest and most defining moments in Victoria's LGBTQ+ history. This is Noel Anderson's 15 Minutes of Fame, and today we're stepping inside the Tasty Nightclub raid. I wasn't there, of course, that night, but I've spoken to people who were, and every story starts the same way. It was just a normal night out. Tasty was in Flinders Lane, underground, sweaty, loud and unapologetically queer. Drag queens, club kids, baby gays, seasoned partygoers, people who had survived the AIDS crisis and just wanted a night out where no one judged them. It was a sanctuary, a bubble of music and joy, until the bubble burst. Just after 2 a.m, the music cut out, the lights snapped on, and more than 40 police officers stormed the nightclub. Imagine it. You're dancing, maybe kissing someone passionately, maybe wearing something fabulous and slightly illegal looking, and suddenly you're surrounded by police in gloves, barking orders. Everyone there, 463 people, was told to strip. Strip completely. Men, women, trans people, drag performers, everyone was told to get naked. They were searched, humiliated, mocked. Some were touched in ways that still makes them flinch when they talk about it years later. One person later said it felt like being treated like wild animals. Another said, I thought I was going to be arrested for just being myself. And that's the thing. This wasn't about drugs. They found almost nothing. This was about policing identity, policing queerness, policing joy. And here's where Melbourne's story echoes Sydney's. Because 16 years earlier, in 1978, police violently broke up the very first Sydney Mardi Gras march. What began as a celebration turned into arrests, bashings, and names printed in newspapers that cost people their jobs, their families, their safety. Sydney's queer community learned the hard way that visibility came with a price. And in 1994, Melbourne paid its own version of that price. Different city, different decades, but the same message from authority. Know your place. And the same response came from the community. No, no, no. Because Melbourne's queer community didn't stay silent. They fought back. They sued the Victoria Police and they won. In 1996, the government paid out $10 million, the largest class action settlement in Australian history at the time. It wasn't just about money. It was about dignity, recognition, and a line in the sand. And it forced police to confront their own culture. Slowly, painfully slowly, things began to change. Now, anniversaries are funny things. They're not just about remembering, they're about asking, where are we now? Melbourne today has Midsummer, the Pride Centre, rainbow trams, queer theatre, queer podcasts, and a generation of young people who can hold hands on the street without looking over their shoulder every 5 seconds. But the Tasty Raid is a reminder that progress isn't permanent. It's maintained, protected, fought for. And it's also a reminder of something else. Queer joy is powerful. Queer spaces matter, and when those spaces are threatened, the community rises. Just like Sydney rose in 78, just like Melbourne rose in 94. Two moments, decades apart, that shaped who we are today. I think about the people who were there that night at Tasty, some in their 20s, some in their 40s, some in drag, some in leather, together, some just hoping to meet someone cute. They walked into a nightclub expecting a good time. They walked out as part of Melbourne's history. And I wonder, if something like that happened today, how would Melbourne respond? Would we rally? Would we protest? Would we post angry TikToks and hope that that was enough? Or would we remember the lesson of Tasty and Mardi Gras, that silence is never the answer? Now, every city has its ghosts. Melbourne's are just a little more glittery, and the ghost of Tasty Nightclub still whispers,
"Never let them take our space again."
So as the anniversary comes around, maybe raise a glass, dance a little, tell someone younger about the raid, remind them that freedoms they enjoy were paid for, not in money, but in humiliation, courage, and resistance. And if you were there that night, thank you. Your story changed this city we call Melbourne. This has been Noel Anderson's 15 Minutes of Fame. If you've got a story, a memory, or a spark of an idea, get in touch. Who knows, you might be my next guest on this podcast show.
Never let them take our space again.